Okay, this is Cruising. It's Capital on a Saturday afternoon. The time is 12:24, and the big daddy of them all is in the studio with us this afternoon for a couple of hours. We'll be opening the phone lines a little later on, and you get a chance to talk to Bill yourself, and I'm sure you have questions that you would like to ask him. Hugh, where are we moving to now? We're up to, the last ones were what, 1952-ish?
That's
that
right,
sort of era?
Roger, yes. Jukebox Cannonball was February 1952. We're jumping forward just over a year now to a thing called Crazy Man Crazy, which I'm sure holds a place in Bill's heart for many, many reasons. I'm sure he's better qualified to tell you why than I am.
Go.
Well, Roger, this era is an era, and I'm glad we're talking about this morning because, as we say, Hugh's the historian on it, but so many times people ask me, in fact, the other night on the TV show, a young lady said, well, Bill, how did Elvis Presley knock you off so fast, And I said, well, it seemed that way in Great Britain because, as you're hearing now, these were the early days of rock and roll we're talking about, 1951, 52, 53, the years when I was writing the songs and going to high school auditoriums and doing free shows at the assembly, as we call it, assembly programs for the kids, searching for a music for young people. And it was a laboratory, so to speak. I mean, experimenting with this type song and that. And you've heard a few of them now, Green Tree Boogie, and we found the rhythm too fast, and the idea of boogie woogie was passé with the kids. It was old hat. They didn't want to hear this. They wanted something new. I was searching for the words rock and roll at this time and hadn't found them. And I remember going to different high schools, and at that time a new expression had come out. Today it's super this and super that and what have you. But then it was crazy, crazy tie. Oh, you had crazy shoes and crazy this. And I remember watching a high school football game, and the cheerleaders were saying, go, 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 go. And the words came to me. And I remember I had a little apartment at that time in Norwood, Pennsylvania. And one morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning, with a cup of coffee, I said, well, what's wrong with Crazy Man Crazy and Go, 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 Everybody? This was the one I was searching for, Roger. This was after 4 or 5 years of writing, hundreds and hundreds of different songs and trying them out in the high schools and with the kids. This one connected, and it connected with such a bang. It just, I just can't describe. Everyone remembers the first tour of England in 1957 with the trains from Southampton to London.
Lining the route all the way.
When this record came out, it hit with such volume, and it went to number one, I think it's something like 3.5 weeks, if I remember. And all the college students and all over America were marching in the dormitories. And I remember the Wildwood, New Jersey, which was a summer resort, and the kids used to, like they do in Fort Lauderdale now, or, the high school and the college students. And they marched almost as an army down the streets, and all of them saying, go, 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 go. And this was the real, and I often tell this story, everyone says rock around the clock, and of course this is the one that did it with Blackboard Jungle. But that was some 2.5, 3 years later. And in England it was 1956 before that happened. But this was when was it, Hugh, now, when we recorded?
This was April 1953.
1953, when they were marching in the streets in the United States. And this was our very first #1 record. But bear in mind, Roger, there is not the word rock or roll in this record. But this was the first big rock and roll record. And this was some 2 or 3 years before, as I've said before Elvis Presley. In fact, Elvis has told me that he was down in Tennessee, and he used to sit and play this record on the jukebox. And so this is real early. This is pre-rock and roll. But just
Crazy man, crazy. Crazy man, crazy. Crazy man, crazy. Oh man, that music's gone, gone.
So that was the first one to sell in really sizable quantities. Do you think it was because up until that time, really, that the white kids in America really had nothing to identify? The black kids had all the R&B groups, which the white kids' ears weren't attuned to and they couldn't pick up on. And this was the first thing.
Wait a minute, Roger. Wait a minute. Hold it there, man.
Right.
In the first place, there wasn't anything called rhythm and blues in those days. The most held down music in the world, and of course I'm a great champion of this. You know, it was a thing that I was so mad about. I'm not saying that I'm a crusader for black people, but I guess in a way I am, because the music is so great, rhythm and blues, and I have so many great friends that play it. But at this time, it was called race music, and it was a very malign music. It was a thing that there were only a very few radio stations that would play it. It was a thing that the pop music was what was the big thing. Almost every station played pop. Country and western and race music, as they call it, was a thing that everybody frowned on, so to speak. And there were very few shows that played this. And I think this is why I was a great fan of rhythm and blues music as we know it today, or as we call it today. And I used to sing it with a country and western band, but I don't mean to contradict you there, but I just wanted to correct you that you say the black children had their own music. They didn't have a chance to have their own music because it wasn't played, and of course, you know, they didn't have tape cassette players and what have you as they have today. This wasn't the music that was liked by the white children only. This was liked by the white and black alike, because the kids hadn't had a chance with their music. It was strictly if you were lucky enough to have enough money to have a record player. You know, it was that type thing. But the reason it hit is it was a fresh music just for the kids. They were starved. Both black and white children were starved for their own kind of music. They were sick and tired of listening to Glenn Miller, man. You know, and
right.
And
because they were still being brought up on the same sort of music as their parents had been
that's
brought
it
up
exactly.
on. Right.
And so when they had something, I think really, if you think back on what you've just heard, it was their music. It was their word crazy, and it was their high school football yell, go, go, go. And man, they went, as I said a moment ago.
You were telling me a moment ago while the record was playing that it was the people who made Blackpool Jungle, that it was the impact of that record that decided them on using Bill Haley doing Rock Around the Clock in the film.
Yeah, you know, Roger, I'll get to that story. I don't want to take the whole day telling each story because I know you have a lot you want to go through here. But I had a friend named Bill Randall, who today is a very successful man in the business in the States. So Bill was with WERE in Cleveland, Ohio, and Bill made the statement later. He said, Billy said, I think every artist today should, as he put it, send part of their royalty checks to you for the work you did in these days. When this record hit, it burst on the market, and as I said, no one knew what the music was. I remember our first bookings. They sent me out to Chicago, and I think Dizzy Gillespie was playing the room the week before me, and we went in with this kind of music, and it was raucous and loud, and no one knew what it was. It wasn't Dixieland, it wasn't pop, and they closed us out the second day. We had the #1 record in the country. Now imagine this, Roger. And the nightclub owner on the second day told us, you know, get out, you know, that's it, man, take this band and leave. And we
Bill, can I interrupt you just a second and go over to the newsroom for a news flash?
Robin Houston, Capital News. A statement from 10 Downing Street just issued says that Liberal leader Jeremy Thorpe has accepted an invitation from the Prime Minister, Mr Heath, to discuss the political situation at Downing Street. He's expected there at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And a repeat of the earlier news flash, the Scottish Nationalists have won Argyll from the Conservatives. The top story once again, Liberal leader Jeremy Thorpe has accepted an invitation from the Prime Minister, Mr Heath, to discuss the political situation at Downing Street. He's expected there at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Details in our next bulletin at 1 o'clock. Robin Houston, Capital News.
Thank you, Robin. Sorry about that, Bill.
That's
what
all
we were
right.
saying.
I'm just as interested as everyone else is.
Yeah.
Because, I've been watching the election just like everyone else. Well, Roger, you know, going through it as I remember back now, I think the important thing that we're listening to here is that I was searching, and I didn't know what I was searching for. And this, everyone says to me, Bill, how did you get the formula for what is called rock and roll music? And at this time, while we did this, I was, as I said, writing tunes. And Rock the Joint. He was before this, wasn't it, actually?
That's
we
right,
recorded this
yes.
before this.
Yeah.
We'd had success with a record called We're Gonna Rock This Joint Tonight. At first, I thought I'd hit on the name for the music with the Crazy Man Crazy, because this was a million seller, as I said. It was a #1 record. And but I somehow said no. I didn't want the music to be tagged crazy music, you know. And I don't know. Perhaps I thought I've often thought back. Did I know that this was going to change the entire music business for the next 20 years? And maybe subconsciously I did know it. I don't know, Roger. But with the Rock the Joint, the word rock to me seemed to be. I think we had done a thing called Rockin' Chair on the Moon, Hugh. Before that, we'd also recorded a song and Rock the Joint. But the word rock kept coming to me, you know. And about this time, I wrote a song. Danny Cedrone was the guitar player who, rest his soul, is dead and gone now. Danny was the guitar man on these records you're hearing now. Danny had a group called the Esquire Boys, and he needed a song. He wanted me to write him a song. And also I had some very good friends called the Treniers, who are still friends of mine today. And
Is that the record you mean? Rockabeat and Boogie by the Treniers?
there we are, the
Well,
Treniers.
we have
yes.
that one here. We'll be playing that in just a moment.
Well, anyway, the Treniers also asked me, they were working with me in Wildwood, and they said, Bill, would you write us a tune? And I sat down and I wrote this thing, and it started out, rock, 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 everybody, roll, 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 everybody. And I had a friend that I didn't know at that time by the name of Alan Freed out in Cleveland, Ohio. And Alan had a rhythm and blues show. It was called the Moondog Show, I think, at that time. And he used to use this record, alternate this record, and also the one by the Esquire Boys. And Alan was a disc jockey that he was the papa of all the disc jockeys of the rock era, and he used to pound the desk and holler along with the record.
With his phone
Rock,
book.
rock, roll, roll, rock and roll, everybody. He used to holler, and there is where the name came from. This whole era of music.
So this was really, did this one hit the Treniers version of Rockabeat and Boogie?
Well, I don't remember it. I'm not sure if it did or not. I know the Esquire Boys had a big record with it. It's so many years back now, Roger, I can't remember. But they've always given Alan the credit for naming the music, and he did name the music. And the fact that he used to pound the desk and holler, it became popular. This is where the name came from. But the name came from the song that was written 2 or 3 years before that.
The rockabeat and boogie, you see. Rockabeat and boogie, B-O-O-G-I-E.
So the Treniers did that some time before you did it.
Oh, yeah, Roger. That was,
It was about 2 years
I think it
before.
was actually about 2 years, yeah.
That's right.
Why didn't you record that as soon as you'd written it?
Well, as I recall back, we were riding high. You see, when you get rich, you know, it is, as we say in the business. In other words, when you've got a hit or two, you know, you get that, come on, boy, I'll get you that big Cadillac type thing, you know.
Yeah.
And we had Rocket 88 on the jukeboxes. We had Rock the Joint. We had Crazy Man Crazy. And all my buddies were coming around saying, hey, Bill, you've got the magic touch at the moment, so write us one, you know. And Danny Cedrone, who was very, very close to me, and Danny had recorded this, and I also gave it to the Treniers. And I had hoped that they would have a hit record with it, and being their friends, I didn't think it was right for me to come out and record it myself over top of them. So we didn't, and not either of the records hit as we really big. They were a help to the groups, but and so finally, why I thought, well, I like the tune, and I recorded it myself.